Well, all right, everybody. It is Monday. We're in the second week of 2022, Guy. We are running a system right now, the 5-hour work week. This is our first call of the week. Probably run hopefully less than an hour, depending on the type of questions we get. I know a few people might be joining us on the Zoom. Otherwise, they're watching live on our YouTube channel. And second week, I mean, people are starting to consider whether they like the path they're on, Guy, or whether they're just going to phase out of those New Year resolutions. And our ultimate goal for everybody is to show you can get there if you run a system, if you set the right habits, if you have the right trajectory, and you work the process or the system. And I think that's one of those things that on Mondays, we want to come in. Hopefully everybody has taken an opportunity to will, skill, and refill over the weekend. Briefly, I want to mention on each of those things, the will. What do you desire? What is it that you're working towards? Do you remind yourself, not just on a weekly basis, but a daily basis of what you're working towards, what you desire? That will keep you motivated to continue down the path. Even when we talk about that valley of despair that most people will go through when they start and take action on working towards something. The skill, are you acquiring the skills that you need and the tools that you need to get to where you're going? And then the refill, the constant reiteration of the will and the skill on a daily basis so that you continue on with your path and don't give up before reaching your final destination. And Guy, I know we've been talking a lot about a lot of things and elements that play a role in all of this, but ultimately, and hopefully everybody who's watching this has already made a plan, or they know what their goals are and they've started to work towards those. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about today are some of the habits and methods of operation that you can put in place so that you can work towards those goals. And it's almost like it's automatically going to happen as long as you continue with that habit of doing it consistently over time.
Most definitely. You know, we talk habits. We've been talking habits probably since the end of 2021. And understanding that habits are going to be based on a feeling of satisfaction.
Yep.
That you get, right? That's going to be what's going to ultimately drive your daily method of operation. Sort of the habit loop, right? Of knowing something that, to me, if I want to advance forward in a business, in a relationship, in whatever, I've got to have almost a 4-step process in place to make sure that a habit becomes a habit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just going to be something that makes me feel good for a day or two. It's like that workout routine right away. If I don't have the right mind frame, if I don't have the element in place that's going to drive me to wake up every day at 5 a.m. to get there, I'm going to stop at about day 2. I'm going to stop at day 3 because there's not enough behind it to get me into saying, you know, I want to lose 20 pounds compared to I want to be fit and healthy. I want to make sure, you know, at my last doctor appointment, that my cholesterol level was high. I don't want to continue in the habits to keep that cholesterol level high. I want to get something different in place so I can move forward and not have to worry about that, but make that healthy lifestyle my new habit. So it's almost a habit loop. You've got to have a cue. You've got to be able to make it obvious. Like, what do I obviously want to get to, right? Then you're looking at, you have to have enough of a craving to get there. So you've got to make it attractive, right? You've got to make, this is what I'm working towards. This is obvious, but it's got to be attractive enough for me to continue to do this tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, so on. Then you get into the response. It's got to be easy. Right? We talk simple, we talk easy, but when you get into a process and a system, you've got to make something easy that it's not going to be a task. It's not going to be something that's going to be difficult or, oh, I got to get up right now. I got to go do this. I got to go do that.
Sure.
And then ultimately your reward, right? The satisfaction. And the satisfaction has to be the thing that when we have been talking, you know, it is the, what do we call it? We learned about it in the book. It's the plateau of satisfaction, right? That the satisfaction has to be enough that it's not just a stopping point. It's a continual progression, parabolic growth above and beyond that. Like you always say, shoot for the stars, you land on the moon. Well, let's goal wise use a system to land on the moon. But you know what? We have enough in this so we can go to Mars, we can go to Jupiter, we can keep going. People in business, when they have a goal of, we talked all last week about how do I make an extra $1,000 a month?
Yeah.
So many people have that. And I know a lot of people have reached that.
Yeah,
when they get to that $1,000, complacency happens. There's no more working on their habit loop. There's no more continuing to do what they do because they reached their pinnacle. They reached where they want to be.
Plateau of satisfaction, as you said, Guy, right? Like I set that goal. And again, at the beginning of 2022, when we talked about a path to make $1,000 a month with LFI's affiliate program, to your point, I know plenty of affiliates. And again, I circle back around with them. We re-engage. We talk about setting that new goal, because typically what ends up happening, to your point, is right as you get to that point of reaching that goal, that you're satisfied. I know it personally from the standpoint of the health side, right? In 2020 going into 2021, I had that goal. It was to get to 215 pounds, blew by that, got all the way down 15 pounds below my goal. And I was like, great, I'm satisfied. This is awesome. And I became complacent. And all of those habits that got me there sort of went by the wayside because I had checked the goal off the list. And really, we talked about this last Friday, Guy, like the goal is our North Star, okay? It sets our trajectory, but it should never be the end-all, be-all result. And it starts at the very beginning with the habit, as you mentioned, the habit loop. And we talked about this earlier today. And, you know, you've got a great quote on your board. We talked about, what are you doing right now, right? What are the habits you are implementing right now? I know we listened to a podcast a few weeks ago and brought it up in conversation, the do not or the not to do list, right? Like we're doing things right now that are habitual. There are all of those 4 elements that you talked about, and they are leading us in a different direction than we want to go. And part of doing this habit audit is saying, where am I right now? And are all of my habits compounding together to take me in the direction that I want to go on any of the paths of the wheel of life we might be working on?
Right. You know, and to that point, you know, making sure you have positive habits. You also have those negative habits. And that's where, you know, that quote from James Clear in the Atomic Habits is, until you make something unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Right. Even consciously, I sat here and people probably look at us on video and I might be muted and I might be doing things. I have consciously identified to myself that is a habit I've got to stop. Like I fidget, like I'm 90% in the conversation. I'm not 100% there. It's almost like my ADD kicks in and I've got to consciously get rid of that. And I've been working on that. I continue to say that, you know, ER is like an accountability to me to draw me back into the conversation, that I consciously have to sit there and say, unconsciously, this is what I've been doing. And in my daily method of operation, I think until someone can sit down and create their own type of system, they've got to consciously sit down and say, what does my day look like? Not my perfect day. What does my day look like? What have I been? What did I do yesterday? What did I do yesterday at 5 a.m.? I was asleep. What did I do yesterday at 6 a.m.? I was starting to wake up and I do this 7 a.m. You know, I made the promise to everybody on Friday that I wouldn't pick my phone up first thing. 3 days in a row, didn't happen. Didn't pick my phone up. I consciously had to do that because unconsciously I would have grabbed it. Right. So I had to make those course corrections and those adjustments. And I'm going to have to do that until it becomes unconscious for me to not pick my phone up first thing in the morning. You know, move it. Maybe the next step, if I have the urge, is to move it into the bathroom, move it somewhere else where it is an annoyance that that it's away from me, but it's an annoyance that I'm not going to get up and look at it first thing. But looking at my daily method of operation, saying, what does my day by day look like?
Yeah.
Minute by minute, almost. We backtrack, what does our week entail? We always sit there Sunday evening and say, these are the things in place that are fixed times, but we have so much more happening in the background that if we don't fix those at certain specific times in our day, they're not going to get done. And sometimes they don't get done anyways. They get moved to the next day, but they're consciously thought about. They're put into our daily method of operation, knowing from an operation standpoint of what happens here at LFI, we've got to look at things on a daily basis at a certain period of time and identifying when is that going to happen. And maybe it's not a specific time, maybe it's after a certain action. Yep. And or once we're done with a live, I will get into XYZ, whatever. Yep. And making sure that I can bring those type of elements, systems into my daily method of operation, because that's ultimately what's going to get us as a corporation, as a community, to our goals, right? We've got to have a system in place, that the system outweighs anything else, that it becomes unconsciously something that's going to move you forward. Like to breathe, right? Your body, you don't have to think about breathing. You don't have to think about your hair growing. You don't have to think about whatever. Your body just unconsciously does it. So how can we get people into a system that unconsciously gets them to success or significant? And we continue to work on that in our background, and what can be provided. The 5-hour work week, we've implemented a 5-hour work week into LFI that hopefully people can participate in and be able to watch those live or come back and watch them in replay, but make them enough value that it sort of falls into the craving. We've got to make it attractive enough that our system can get you to that satisfaction, can get you to something that can be fairly easy, fairly simple to get to where you're going. I don't want to consume the whole time, but I know you and I were chatting earlier that there was something, if people had seen last night on 60 Minutes, they did a report on the Great Resignation or the Big Quit. And they were just talking the last 6 months of 2021, 20 million people had quit or resigned. And it was all based on time freedom and location freedom. It really wasn't anything to do with financial freedom. It was just really based on their time. Do they feel appreciated in the workspace? From the financial aspect, they were looking at PPP or whatever was going to take care of them. The government was going to take care of them instead of taking things into their control. And now you're starting to see that big quit. There's a shift. And they had the conversation with a financial analyst at LinkedIn, and she was talking about the sectors that they're starting to see these individuals come back into, or starting to throw their resumes back into, and all of them aren't what we would consider the corporate jobs. They're all the part-times, the additional opportunities. And I think this really is the perfect time for LFI and Shuffle to get information, or to have our affiliates to get information out there to people to say, hey, you've been looking for time freedom and location freedom. Here's an additional way to maybe get some financial freedom, because there's 20 million people looking for jobs. That means that there's probably 40 million business owners looking for employees that in both scenarios can be utilizing a solution to get their information to that person on why they should be hired, or get that information to the people on why you should look at us to come work with us. We talked with a leader within network marketing last week, and he talked about 2020, 2021, based on so many people went into the sector of health and wellness in network marketing based on what was happening with a pandemic. But he saw a lot of attrition. And the attrition happened based on the cost. Cost went up. Cost went up to join, cost went up in products, and people weren't seeing what their dream, or they were shown their dream on how they were going to make money, because it wasn't their expertise. It wasn't their expertise in this industry. They didn't have elements in place or systems in place to get their products out in front of people, to get their opportunities out in front of people. So LFI really does fall in that realm of, here's a solution, ultimately a system that can help you get your product X in front of someone. Product B, maybe product B is yourself, your marketing. For the longest time, ER and I have been identified as athletes. I think if I go back to my hometown, I'm identified as Guy, the football player, compared to the shift on, I consciously have to go out there and be like Guy, the entrepreneur, Guy, the business owner, Guy, the system provider, the coach. Ultimately, that's what I bring from my past into here, is how can we coach people to say, hey, here is a system that can be fairly simple, and how do I get it to others? And who can I utilize within LFI and within our community to help me get this out to others? And so, get off my soapbox a little bit here, but from understanding, we've got to make the unconscious conscious. We've got to take a system. We've got to have something that's easy, attractive, satisfying, in order to keep positive daily habits happening, and to know that the time is right. 2022 it's a new year. It's clean slate. And to the report yesterday, there's 20 million people that were 9-to-5 people that are looking for something different, because they love the time, they love the location freedom, but financially they want to do something. And when they're going back to their jobs, they're not going to 9-to-5s. They're looking for, how do I have 3 or 4 or 5 hour work week opportunities?
Yeah, Guy, I think that, for the last probably 5 years, when we've been looking at the macro level of what's going on and the data of what's going on, I truly believe the future is going to be made up of individuals doing multiple things and aggregating those income flows collectively together to covering their life expenses. I think we can see it happening. We're, in an amazing position because we get to watch that transformation happen, and we're all well positioned to support that transition and that transformation happening. I know because I've experienced that myself, and just how we aggregate all of the things that we do to accomplish what we want to accomplish. And I remember, and we want to obviously open this up for any contribution. Angelo, Shelley, if you have any thoughts or questions or anything, obviously feel free to put a comment in or raise your hand. But I remember that process of aggregating all of that stuff together and seeing something like 50% of the jobs that exist today are projected to not exist in the next 5 to 10 years. And it's really hard to step back from that type of data and think, well, what will exist? What is it going to look like? How is it going to change? And how are people going to be participating in this different economy? And how can we support that? Because at the end of the day, that's really LFI's ethos, right? We want to support the success of the entrepreneur, the small business owner, the work-at-home professional, because that's truly what we see as happening in the future, is people participating on their own, in these paths. And I think going down and back to, and Angelo, I'll grab your question or comments here in a second, back to this wheel of life and the process or the systems of getting where we want to go. I remember you and I were listening to a podcast, and this is part of Will, Skill, and Refill. On a daily basis, we're listening to books, we're listening to podcasts, we're listening to inspirational stories that are focused on areas of the wheel of life to continue to keep us focused on what we're focused on. And And one of those things was the not to do list. Another one of those things was, like what is the focus and where am I going and what are the habits that are going to take me there, and doing sort of that audit of stuff and coming back. And I'm just going to bring one example from my own life as the physical side, right? I did an audit at the end of 2021. My health was not where I wanted it to be physically. And I identified 2 habits. That's the habit audit, right? That I'm looking at on a daily basis. One, wasn't getting my physical activity that I know. Again, this is pretty self-explanatory stuff. We can all take a step back and look at, is what I'm doing right now going to take me in the direction where I want to go or not in the direction of where I want to go? So for me, one of them was physical activity. To be honest, I wasn't doing any amount of physical activity regularly on a daily basis. So that was the audit, right? Okay, well, how do I change that? I need to do one portion of physical activity every single day, right? Again, Shelly, if it's 20 sit-ups a day, it's 20 sit-ups a day. Think about that. Times that by 365 or times that by 5 times 52, whether you're doing it all every day or just during the workday. How many sit-ups are you going to put in a year's time? That's going to take you in some direction different from where you are. And that's sort of that step back and sitting there going, wow, you know what I mean? This can have an impact. Same thing for me. It was if I went and just walked a mile, and that was all it was. It's not go out and run a marathon. It's not go out and do wind sprints or start lifting heavy weight. It was anybody can do this. And I wanted to create a habit for myself that is just as good when I'm in my 40s as when I'm in my 80s. I said, well, I should be walking every single day at a minimum, right? So I committed to doing a mile every day. And I already know a year from now, when I put in 365 miles or more, I'm going to be further along literally than I was where I started. So that's the first aspect. The second aspect, I did that habit audit, right? And I came through and I said, wow, I realized that when I'm working late, when I'm staying up late, when I'm not getting rest, I'm also snacking. I'm a late night snacker. Oh my gosh. If I can just shift my habit to go to bed on a set time and wake up at a set time, I'm going to eliminate all of those steps in the chain that led to the extra snacking or the eating wrong. Okay, all I need to do is do this, and I break that chain of habit. And here we are again, a weekend, and I implemented this back in December to get a little bit of a head start. Here I am 5 weeks in, and it's been trucking along. Do I do every day perfectly? No, some days instead of getting up at 5, I got up at 5:30 on the weekend. Okay, I got to sleep in 30 minutes, which was a benefit, but I still checked that thing off of my list. And that was the habit and the habit audit that led to this. Now, going back to that podcast guy, I remember Dean was saying, okay, you've heard all this stuff, but you're waiting for what the secret is, right? Like, what's that secret, that magical, mythical, easy button or whatever it is that's going to get me from where I am to where I'm going? Guys, we've been talking about this secret the whole time, and it's so simple. And Guy, for me, it's like stumbling upon gold and not really realizing that you had all these acres of diamonds in front of you. When you realize that you're in control of your choices, you can choose what you do consistently on a daily basis. If you can make the unconscious conscious, to your point of view, you can start doing these daily incremental steps that collectively over time will lead you to where you want to go. And the secret and why this is so amazing, Guy, is it's applicable to everything you want to accomplish. It doesn't matter, again, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's spiritual, whether it's financial, whether it's family focused or career focused. If you go down the process, set up the systems, and implement the habits, you are going to make forward progress towards your goal. And if you can understand the mental traps and what was it? The valley of despair that you've got to get through when you first start, and not letting yourself get complacent with the plateau of satisfaction, you can continue to let this take you wherever you want to go. And I think we're all susceptible to these traps. Guy, I'll be the first to say, I've definitely got complacent in the plateau of satisfaction in many areas when setting goals and achieving goals. And now I'm at the point where I know any goal we set, we can achieve. It's just a matter of continuing to move that yardstick as we approach that goal. Let that be our Northern Star. I think there's a lot of things in the book that we discuss that will come out in future conversations, things like how do you implement habits, habit stacking, or something, Guy, you mentioned, right? If you want to break a habit, it's about making it harder for yourself. If you don't want to pick up the phone first thing in the morning when you roll out of bed, moving it off of the nightstand even to the dresser is a step in that right direction. In the book, they talk about, like, if you're watching a lot of TV, take your TV off the stand, put it in the closet, and require yourself every time you want to watch something to pull it out and set it up. If you put that hurdle or hardship in your path, you'll start to change the old habits. And the same thing with the new habits. You got to set yourself up for success. It's putting the clothes out or the shoes out the night before so that when you wake up, it's very easy to take those next steps.
I think that was the big thing about it is the secret. There is no secret. And there's so many people, leaders, thought provokers, people that have millions of followers.
You sell the secret?
that say their secrets. But ultimately, when you get down to it, the secret is give me another $2,000-$3,000 and I'll get you into another system that I sold you, my old system last year, even though I made a tweak to how the system is, what it's named or whatever. There really is no secret. And yes, is doing the do daily. It is sitting down and saying, what can I consciously do that I can implement with an intention?
Yes.
To reach success or to reach, I don't want to say that goal is a bad word. It's a great word, but to reach the goal, but to know that if I continue the system, I'm going to go beyond that goal. I'm going to continue to grow. I'm going to continue to be an example of what a system can do. So I know we've been chatting a lot since Angelo's had his hand up, but Angelo, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for joining, Angelo. Good to have you on today.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
There you go.
We got you, Angelo.
Okay, all right, good deal, good deal. Happy New Year, first of all.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you.
This is somebody's first New Year with the new baby. Congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Angelo.
All right. Well, guys, a lot of stuff you're saying, I think everybody in Shuffle needs to be on these calls. We're going to start really promoting it because it's a great way to give them like a roadmap of what you're saying. And I know I've said it, and I heard you guys say this before. You have to be consistent.
Yes.
No matter what you do, you got to consistently use your tool. You consistently eat.
Yeah.
You consistently go to the restroom.
Yeah.
Hopefully you consistently take a bath to brush your teeth. So you have to do the same thing in your business. You have to be consistent. And I can relate to the weight gain. I had tipped the scale at 325 and found out I was diabetic. And the doctor was telling me, you'll always be a diabetic. It'll never go away. I didn't believe that. I was like, no, it's crazy. I've heard so much stuff about it. So I did my research. You change your habits. And that's the same thing in business, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not getting the results that you do, like they say, you got to go back and revisit what you're not doing. You got a plan of action and you got to go back and revisit. If I don't have 10 people signed up I said I want to get 10 people by the end of the month. If I only got 3 people and it's a week left, what am I not doing right? I got to go revamp my way of thinking to say, okay, I need to change that. I need to change it. This way is not working. I need to do something different. But I want to leave with this, and thank you guys for letting me say something, but the consistency is what you have to use the card, especially if you grow on a team and they never see you using the card. They never see you using the chatter features. They never see you sharing a holiday card or anything with them. They're not going to use it. So you got to get in their mindset that they see you using it. They're going to say, oh, well, Angelo using this all the time. I need to use it. And give you an idea. A lot of people that's in Shuffle are doing other businesses. So let's say you're doing a nutritional product. Eventually, somebody on your team is going to get upset. They're going to get discouraged. They're going to think the grass is greener on the other side, and they're going to leave and go to another company or stop doing it. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This Shuffle platform can work with any business. I don't care if you're selling bottle caps or picking up bottles on the corner or cans. You can use Shuffle with any type of business. Weddings, hair salons. Congratulations for people graduating from high school. You can even have a condolence card. I mean, the list goes on and on with all the features and tools you can use. I love when Kathy talked about this too, but at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, be consistent. And like you said, I love the sprint planning because it gives you a plan of action to help you if you don't know where to start or what to do. So thank you guys again. I look forward to doing a lot of good things this year. So keep up the good work.
I love it, Angelo. Thank you so much for that. And I want to tease out some great gold out of what Angelo was just talking about. This is something that I love to do when I open up my ears and I listen to people. The first thing you said is the nail on the head: consistency. We've heard it from, our trainers on the mindset side. Edwin Britt would talk about being relentlessly consistent, right? It's just not about doing it once here or once there. It's having an intentional focus to do it consistently over time. Every time, follow that system and watch what will happen when you yield things over time. Follow the same process. It will produce predictable results. Absolutely that. Be a product of the product. If you're not using it, people will look at, well, why? Why do I need to use it if you're not using it? Find everywhere that you can leverage this, and you will come to discover that there are areas that you weren't even thinking about where you're like, hey, I just need to go spin up a quick shuffle card for that. And you get good enough at it, it takes you a few minutes just to do that. You know what I mean? And then I think the not just consistency, but just that whole habit of doing that over time, guys. There is a system on anything you want to achieve that you can put in place. And if you follow it, it will be consistent and you will get to where you are going. I mean, I don't know how many times, Guy, we're going to have to say this, but we're going to continue to be consistent on saying it because eventually it clicks for you. And part of that consistent system is this 5-hour work week that we've been talking about. It's creating 5 calls, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, that we can all participate on. Angelo, to your point, we want as many people as we can on these calls. They're not just for Guy and I, right? We're going to go out and be consistent with our activities. They're for each and every one of you, but most importantly, they're for your customers and your team members. You can invite them to these calls. You can reshare these calls out to them. This isn't always about how to do X, Y, and Z with Shuffle. The bigger picture of this community is we all are pouring into each other, and that high tide raises all ships. Guy, you went back and made that comment about some of the gurus out there. And I know you and I were sort of joking and laughing earlier because as entrepreneurs ourselves and business owners who provide tools to people, it almost pains me to see sometimes people buying into that, knowing that maybe there's the secret that it isn't there, Also, what's being sold is the lifestyle, right? You want what I have, and what I have is riches. And guys, the reality is when I step back, most people don't want riches, right? They don't want $1 million car and $1 million home. Sure, those things are neat. But for me personally, man, I want time freedom. I want location freedom. I want some financial freedom. I want the ability to have a family life, have good health, have a good spiritual position. All of those things collectively together to live a whole life. A lot of us, I think, sit back and we're just worried about, are we going to pay the bills this month? These financial obligations. Will I have time to go do these things? What happens right now when the schools go back to remote learning and all of this other stuff? Guys, life's going to happen, but we can set pieces in place that will take us where we want to go, independent of the things outside of our control, as long as we're relentlessly consistent on following our system.
Right. I think, it all comes down to community, and this is where we'll continue to grow. And yep. Angelo, inviting everyone, Shelly, getting the team members or whoever needs to just have a community to come to, that they don't have to pay $1,000 to sit and listen, that they can participate in. That's what we want to provide, is a community of like-minded self-thinkers. What it really should come down to is people are the best versions of themselves when they're selfish. When, to your point, financial, time, location. That's how ER says it. I say, from a selfish aspect, I want to do what I want, when I want, where I want. that's me being selfish. So what's the best version of me is someone that can get into a system to be able to do those types of things, and being able to get, the community from hundreds to thousands to tens to hundreds to whatever it's going to grow to. But to know that Shuffle is a system that we can implement. LFI is a community that we can have conversations, that ultimately, we always talk about it, iron sharpens iron. There's times that people will conflict with what others will say. But I think growing in our community, ER and I have always consciously had to listen to what community says. Shuffle has evolved from what we thought to what our users have told us.
Yep.
And what we have done, I believe there's 3 ways, and I had to write it down because I had to think about it. There are 3 ways that people listen. They listen to be confirmed. They listen to have conflict, to argue, or they listen to learn. And that's one place I think we've done a really good job is we've listened to learn, and we encourage our community to do the same, to come in here, listen to learn, listen to someone like Angelo, to Shelly, to Kathy, to whoever who has experienced it, who implements this, to know a habit of just using it on a daily basis. If you use it, things will change. We talked about it earlier, ER, trying to bring an analogy together. If I have a laser pointer and I point it on the wall, it's a small dot. I point it on the neighbor's house, it's a larger dot. I point it across the block, it's a bigger dot. Like the trajectory of getting out information to more people, it's going to expand. And the message is going to expand. And the 20 million people that are looking to get back into the workforce, but maybe not a 9 to 5, can get brought into that dot and can get brought into LFI's community. And to say, here's maybe a system that I can take over to these other 3 or 4 1-hour or 5-hour work week opportunities.
Yep. Now, look, if there are any questions out there, comments to add, feel free, put them in or raise your hand. Otherwise, Guy, I'm going to shift forward a little bit and talk about what we had mentioned at the start of the year, which is there's a path that you can follow that is simple, maybe not easy, but simple, and it will lead you to potentially making $1,000 a month in passive residual income as an LFI affiliate. We've talked about it a little bit on previous last week's calls. The thing I want to focus on the wheel of life are 2 spokes, okay? The career spoke and the financial spoke. Most people don't know this, but they can have a part-time ultimate side hustle career as an affiliate marketer. I know this because I've been an affiliate for the last 20 years, and it's allowed me to achieve pretty much everything I've ever hoped for, and has set me on the path to achieve some of those longer term goals, decades in the making. The other side is the financial side, right? We all want to be financially free, financially independent, not having to worry, do I have enough in the bank to cover what I'm working on? When you have a surplus, man, what a weight gets lifted off your shoulders, huh, Guy? It's just, I'm not stressing about this. And we've talked about this before. And this is one of those reasons why I'm saying $1,000 a month. That's not the end all be all goal, guys. The end all be all goal is you want to be retired, maybe. You don't want to have to work for the dollar. You want to have to be able to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, where you want to do it, as Guy was talking about. So as we work towards that $1,000 per month, my hope for each of you is that you continue to move the mark. You don't hit that plateau of satisfaction. You go up and 1,000 turns to 2, turns to 4, turns to 8, and you're starting to approach a number that is replacing what the regular 9 to 5 might have brought you. And Guy, when we talk about setting that goal at the beginning of the year, and I know a lot of people were challenged with that even into December, where do you want to go? It made me think of this little thing that I have here, right? It's this, what would you attempt to do if you knew you couldn't fail? Okay. Exactly. And think about this, not just in financial or career, but in every area of your wheel of life. Like, what does the ideal Angelo look like, or Shelly look like, or D'Angelo look like, or Guy look like? It is up to you to determine that, because if you're the one making that decision, you'll have the desire to work towards it. And when we think about the career and the financial side, for $1,000 a month, that's the goal. We work down and we create the plan and the path to achieve that goal.
Right.
Once we have the plan, we can prepare, and then we can execute that plan by establishing the habits, getting rid of the bad, putting in the good, and continuing to chip away and dial that until they become habitual. And once we've taken the unconscious conscious, we can take the conscious, go down that path, and start to make it unconscious, right? I think about making coffee this morning. I don't even know the process, but I follow the same one every single day, right? Fill up this, put this cup in here, close this down, push this button, walk away, come back, pick it up, pour in my stuff, stir it, and I'm already walking up for my day. And all of that was on autopilot, but it wasn't originally on autopilot, right? It just became on autopilot from doing it over and over again. The same holds true with all of this stuff. So here's the breakdown for $1,000 a month, guys. If you get 10% direct commission on all of your referrals and 8% network commission from your network referrals, you know, you could average those together, but let's just say it's 10% for the sake of easy math. Okay. If I get 10% and I want to make $1,000 a month on average, I need to have between 500 and 1,000 people in my network. Now you have one of two choices. Okay. And I'm going to encourage you to go down both paths simultaneously. And here's why. The first choice, you can do all of those 500 to 1,000 people direct. If you have that sphere of influence or access to those audiences as part of your lead generation, that is 100% doable. When I started out as an affiliate marketer, it was 100% direct. You got to get what you got directly. You didn't get to override or leverage many other people in your network. That's how we made the change or the shift in the LFI program to expand it and make it accessible for more people. So your first choice, direct. Your second choice, network, indirect, right? Leverage the skills of other people, build a team, help us locate affiliates, and you will get 8% of what they produce for a full 6 degrees of separation. That simple. One is easier than the other, and I'm going to tell you why. If you do not have a large sphere of influence, maybe your contact list is a few hundred people, but not 1,000 people. Maybe you're not out networking online or offline all of the time. You have everybody in your network right now to take you where you want to go. You just need to start working that network or that organization. In addition to that, because leverage is so powerful, every company in the world operates using leverage. You, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a LFI affiliate, need to focus on leverage in your business as well. So don't overlook those network referrals. What does that mean? To Angelo's point, it's about sharing this information out, inviting other people to take a look. Some will, some won't. So what? Over time, it's going to build up. And eventually, not only are you going to be making direct referrals, you'll have shown others a path that they can follow to achieve the same results. And they'll come on and they'll start making their direct referrals. And their direct referrals are your network referrals. So this is why this community is so important, to Angelo's point, why we should be out there resharing and inviting others to join in. And over time, guys, we're not going anywhere. This is going to be our relentlessly consistent 5-hour work week. This is the path that we've created. Here's the outline to get you to that $1,000 per month. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, for those 5 days of the week, we will have a live call to support you in your success each and every one of those days. This is that first live call. We're 45 minutes in. If you've made it this far, you're well on your way for checking off your first hour for the work week. You know what I mean? If you brought a guest in, more kudos to you. If you reshared this, more kudos to you. Okay. Monday is sprint planning. Again, we talk about it. You got to make a plan. This call is all about helping and showing others that if you make a plan, if you prepare to execute that plan, develop the skills, the habits, leverage the tools, you can execute on your plan, and your plan will take you to where you want to go. Monday sprint planning boils this down to, guys, we don't have to hit our year goal today, okay? You don't have to do all of those sit-ups, Shelly, that you talked about for the whole year today, right? Would you just be burnt out in a half a day? My goodness, you know what I mean? But if you do 20 a day, every day, you're going to have the same sum of all of that total. Okay, what are you going to do? What's your plan? And then what we want to do is use that as our Northern Star, right, where we're pointing, and we want to break it down into a weekly sprint. At the end of the day, what are you going to do today? If you've got to go out and you got to build a network of 1,000 people this year, where are you going to start and who are you going to introduce this to? We talked about this on Friday with the founders just a few days ago, right? Mike Snow said, are you sharing cards? Angelo said, are you using Shuffle just now? Again, you're going to hear the same stuff over and over again because it is simple. You know what I mean? Out of Mike Snow, are you sharing your cards? Guy made the comment, do you have a card worth sharing? If you don't have a card worth sharing, you need to join us for the second hour of our 5-hour work week on Tuesdays with Kathy. She will tell you, you can ask her the question. She will tell you what you need to do, what buttons you need to push to create a card worth sharing. In addition to that, we talked about giving away free business cards. Guy, you mentioned 20 million people just exited the workforce and they're looking for something new. They're going to need a business card or a digital resume or something that points to their LinkedIn account and their Facebook account so the next employer can creep them easily online, guys. All of those people are looking for something, and you have something at your disposal that you can give away to them for free to bring them into the community or the fold. Then here's what we know. As we run these 5 calls per week, on Wednesday, we're doing Mindset of a Champion, okay? Edwin Britt, Michael Ray Newman are going to give us some of the tools that we need and the skills that we need to apply so that we are doing what we need to do to win. On Thursday, we're going to have another roundtable discussion. Guy, I was talking with you. We'll probably be talking about time. This is a very important topic for me. I think it's critical, and that'll probably be the topic for this Thursday, all about time. And I've got a different perspective that I'm going to share a little bit of my personal story, and hopefully you'll find out why time is important as part of your life's journey. I know it's become this critical thing for me, and that's why time freedom is so important. On Friday, we're going to host that hour call Friday with the founders. Again, this is a collaborative call where you can connect directly with the corporate team here, ask questions, celebrate victories, offer tips and tricks, just so everybody achieves more. Those are the 5 hours, guys. We're doing it each and every week. We checked one off the list. That's 1/52nd of the way to completing our relentlessly consistent 5-hour work week for 2022. If you want to win each week, you either need to join us live on those calls, or you need to, at minimum, watch the replay. You should be inviting others to the calls. Let us do some heavy lifting for you, okay? Or at least re-sharing it out to other people. Ideally, doing a combination of all 4 of those things. They are not monumental lifts. You just have to do the action. In addition to all of that, right? You're going to have to do things outside of that 5-hour work week. You may need to share your own card as part of your daily 9 to 5 or whatever venture you might be working on. To Angelo's point, be a product of the product. You're going to understand all of these things, and you're going to be in a position to help the customers that you're getting and identify the affiliates that are joining your team. And that's all part of the bigger picture here when you bring them into the fold. Then what's going to happen? We're going to rinse and repeat. You're going to stay consistent on doing all of those things. And the people you're starting to bring into the fold will also start to replicate. Why? Because this is not rocket science. It is not brain surgery. I truly believe, independent of where you are in your life's journey, if you want to go down this path, you are capable of doing it. You just need to plug in and start coming along for the ride. As Michael Ray would say, Guy, you got to go as far as you can see. Once you get there, you're going to be able to see further. But don't wait to see the entire path before you ever get started. Start walking and know that every journey begins with a step. Once you get to the next fork in the road, you're going to be able to make a decision, and that choice will be yours. You just need to step forward in the right direction. And that's what today was all about. Okay, what are your habits? Have you done a habit audit today? Are there things that are setting you up for success and hurdles that are setting you up for failure? be aware that some of those hurdles may be unconscious. So part of doing that audit is identifying those things. For me, an unconscious habit was staying up late. That led to eating more. That led to me moving away from my health goal. Same thing. If you're talking about other things you can do outside of these calls to support you as an affiliate, here are some suggestions. Have you welcomed any of the new customers that you've received through your referral? Just reached out. Hey, thanks for joining. I saw you got a free business card, or I saw that you signed up for this. Is there any help that you need to get off to a great start? Because what we know is once somebody builds a card and starts sharing it, they get it. If they don't hit those two first steps, you have a good chance of losing them. That you can be in control of. Likewise, here's the next piece. If an affiliate has activated in your team from your levels 2 through level 6, where you actually get 8% of what they do, have you welcomed them? If you do have customers and affiliates in the new year, have you followed up with them? Have you reached out and seen how they're doing? Do they need to update their card so that they're using it more and retaining it more and creating a story? Have you asked for referrals from your customers who are seeing good results? Because they're going to take you to your next lead. Referral, word of mouth marketing is so powerful. So these are all things that we can be leaning into as part of our process, each of which is going to take you a few minutes. I mean, get a canned email together that says, welcome to the team, or hey, thanks for being a customer. Here are some quick tips. All of those types of things can support you in your success, and they aren't monumental things. My goal for each and every one of you is, with this 5-hour work week, you can get to where you want to go. If you follow this consistently over a 12-month period, even if you're watching this for the first time and it's July of 2023, you know what I mean? Know that by this time in July of 2024, 12 months from now, if you follow this path, you can be making $1,000 per month residually with LFI's affiliate program. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you're the one who has to make that choice, and you're going to be the one who has to put in that work to get the results. We will show you the path to get there, because we've seen multiple people go down this path and achieve exactly that.
Right. Quick math, just because we're math guys. You talked 1,000 a month.
Yeah.
And are you going to individually refer 1,000 to make 1,000? Are you going to build a network, build a team, build a community that understands systems is what's going to help them become successful in whatever their venture? Angelo, you mentioned 10 when you came on, 10 by the end of the month. If I took 10 and I said all 10 of those people are 20% effective at what I do, and they all know, but 20% of 10 is 2. And if we looked at 2 multiplied down through your 6 levels, how many people are in your network? It's not 1,000. It's less. It's 610. But what are you making a month? You're making $1,012 based on helping 10, who then you get an understanding of how you can help build a system and a network, bring them into a community where we're continuing to grow things. To your question on what's coming soon, new videos are being worked on. Videos will be provided. We're in the final steps of scripting some of those. Yep. Some of them are going to be quick and dirty. Some of them will be produced. The quick and dirty ones will be the ones that will adjust based on what's happening with our development and the modularization of Shuffle. Knowing that Shuffle has grown into, we talked about, we listen to our customers to learn. We have grown Shuffle to be a massive thing. And now we're peeling it back to modularize it. It's going to take some time. It's not going to be overnight, but we want to make sure that we provide stuff to you as an affiliate that can. Shelly, I think you jumped at the end of last Friday with the founders. ER gave a 2-minute overview of the affiliate program. So if you guys haven't had a chance, go back to last Friday's, go the last 2 minutes, and it's the perfect overview of LFI's affiliate program, because our affiliate program is that simple. It's essentially, if you can share links to people and they like to sign up, or they would like to see the value or be a part of this system, you're going to get 10%. If they also have people who like this element and understand that they can get information out there and build a system to become successful, you'll get 8%. everyone levels 2 through 6. And it really is that simple. I probably butchered it, but we're going to have it down to being simple, something that simple, to being a little more in depth, to the overall complexity of what the affiliate program is, even though there's no complexity to it. I think it's just knowing that there's bonuses and there's additional ways to earn on levels 7 through 10. But those are probably going to be something that's going to be packed into produced videos, compared to something that, here's a script, here's what it is, here's something that we can get into the hands of each and every one of you as an affiliate, to get information out, to drive people to this community and say, hey, if you've been looking for something, join us on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and see if it fits. If it doesn't, do you know someone who you think it does? Because I think that's the biggest thing. Do you know someone who wants to be better at business, wants to get their information out there, wants to build customers, wants to build rapport, wants to be able to network and refer? If that's not you, do you know who is? Yep. Who is looking for something like that? So I know we are 2 minutes from wrapping this up, but that's sort of what I just wanted to add here at the end.
Yeah, Guy, as we wrap this thing up, I want to go back to what you said, and I'm sure you're playing around with the commission calculator. I invite anybody, if they want to go to lfishuffle.com/affiliate, they can play around with that commission calculator to estimate what you need to do. But I want to call out what you talked about, and in alignment with what Angelo said. Maybe your goal for the month is 10 people, okay? Your goal for the 2-week mark is 5 people. Your goal for the week is 2.5 people, guys. Let's think about that and break it out. Do you feel confident, right? Are you a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 that you can go out and get 2.5 people this month? Look at the solution. I would say that is doable by almost anybody. And if they are consistent with that, again, you're going to hit 10 a month. And in a year's time, you're going to have 120 direct referrals. But I want to go back to, Guy, what you were talking about, and something that I learned while I was getting my MBA, and it was about management and managing people. Okay. If I had to go out and refer directly 1,000 people direct, or in this case, Guy, you had it something about 600 people, right? 600 people direct. How effective would I be in trying to juggle all 600 of those relationships and manage the expectations, right? They're all going to have their own chaos going on in their own lives. And all we're trying to show them is if they block out and prioritize a little bit of time within their life, they can follow this system and this path. Here's the reality. An effective manager can only effectively manage between 5 and 7 people, really and truly, okay? On a daily basis. And maybe you're saying, okay, each day I'm going to manage a few different people and we'll consistently get into that. That's why you want to leverage, right? That's why you want to show people a path that they can follow. And if we're all effectively managing our 5 to 7 people with our focus on 4, consistently, or 40 for the year, we will get there. And here's the reality. You're going to be much better positioned to help and support a handful of individuals and show them how to do the same thing, and show them that it's not rocket science. It can be implemented by everybody, and you will see that success happen and come. That's the reality. If you do have a massive amount of people, by all means, directly refer as many as you can, because we're going to play the law of large numbers. Every person you refer, 1, becomes a customer. 2, creates a customer product experience. 3, has a testimonial they can share. 4, when you follow up with them and you say, hey, how's your shuffle experience been? And they give you something positive, you say, have you told other people about this? Because you can get paid to share this thing with other people, and you've got a great story. And number 5, if they say they haven't, ask them for those referrals. Well, you can get paid or I can get paid, but I'd love to share this with the people you know and your experience. And there's a good chance they're not going to leave money on the table if you show them a path where they can get paid in addition to experiencing the results that they've experienced. And all of those results will come back to what Angelo said. Have you created a card worth sharing? Are you sharing your card consistently? And are you just using the technology as part of what you do every day? So guys, I know it's been an hour. We're going to cut it off here. If there are any questions, throw them down in the comments on YouTube for this video, and we'll make sure that your questions get answered. Outside of that, Tech Tuesday at 2 will be happening at 2 p.m. Central Time tomorrow with Master Trainer Kathy Inman. Guy, you or I, or maybe even both of us may join on that as well. And again, we want to help the community grow. You're going to come in if you're struggling to use Shuffle as a tool with your questions so that you can learn how to implement this technology to highlight who you are, what you do, and how you can help other people. So with that being said, I hope everybody has an amazing Monday. Make sure you make your plan for the week. Only focus on your plan and keep a focus on each and every day. We want to win each day so that collectively we win the week, guys. Thanks, everybody, for your time. Take care. Have a good day. Angelo, Shelly, D'Angelo, good to have everybody on. Take care, everybody.